Some big news coming out in the last 24 hours on rebate checks, stimulus checks, refund checks, tariff checks, money going into the pockets of the American people. Take a look at the latest headlines with me so you can see it for yourself. Trump rebate checks. President shares an update on payments to Americans coming out July 25th yesterday. Trump says he's considering rebate checks for Americans based on tariff revenue. Trump says he may want to give you a tariff rebate check. A little rebate for people of a certain income level might be very nice. And if you agree, drop a 47 and hit that like button. Trump floats the possibility of tariff rebate checks. Trump suggests giving out rebates from billions in tariff revenue. And coming out from CNBC, Trump floats tariff rebate for consumers. That could be a challenge, some experts say. We're going to cover the details, and people might be wondering, okay, is this actually going to happen, though? Let me know your thoughts. But take a look, coming out in the last 24 hours as well. Senator Josh Hawley says he's going to be introducing legislation to send rebate checks to every working American. So Senator Josh Hawley jumping on board with this as we are now hearing an update. And I'm seeing those 47s pour into the comments. If you're glad to hear this, hit that like button, drop that 47, and let me share with you the latest updates. Now, also to stay up to date, it's totally free. Why not? If you want to know what's going on, subscribe. I'll let you know as it comes out. But let's play the video footage for you so you can see it for yourself. Hear it directly from Donald Trump talk about this, and then we're going to dive into the details of these articles and into the possibility of why experts are saying it might not happen, and also taking a look at what we have from Senator Josh Hawley so you can see it for yourself as of today, July 26th, 2025. Let's take a look at this video footage.
With all of that revenue coming in, Mr. President,
a lot of money.
A lot of money.
Our country was a dead country. It was a dead country 1 year ago. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. And don't you feel it?
Mr. President, with all of that revenue coming in tens of billions of dollars, do you think there's the possibility of a rebate to the American public in terms of all of that money?
We're thinking about that, actually. We have so much money coming in. We're thinking about a little rebate, but the big thing we want to do is pay down debt. But we're thinking about a rebate. That's a very good question. You just made a lot of news. We're thinking about a rebate because we have so much money coming in from tariffs that a little rebate for people of a certain income level might be very nice.
So there you have it, you guys. Let me know your thoughts. He said a little rebate check to the American people of a certain income level that might be very nice. And if you agree, like I said, drop that 47, hit that like button. That is the video footage that came out in the last 24 hours. Now let's take a look at some of these articles. I'm going to share with you some more details coming out. Also, why some experts are saying this is likely not going to happen. And also how Senator Josh Hawley is saying he will be introducing that legislation here very soon. So let's go ahead and take a look so that way you can see the latest. Now, as always, all of these articles I'm referencing, they're going to be linked in the description below. Cite all the sources, put it on the screen, read right from it so you can see it for yourself and know and rest assured that this is the latest. Now, this article says President Donald Trump said yesterday, that his administration is considering a new rebate for Americans due to so much money coming in from tariffs the United States has imposed on other countries. So here's why it matters. Trump has repeatedly announced, imposed, paused, and reinstated a slew of tariffs at varying rates on U.S. trading partners to curb immigration, drug trafficking, and reduce trade deficits. Trump's various tariffs have caused the market to both slump and to spike. The economists and experts have warned that Trump's tariffs, which are effectively a tax imposed on imported goods, will inevitably lead to increased costs for Americans. Trump has defended his policies, saying the tariffs will cause some little pain up front, but in the long term, they will be worth the price that must be paid. So here's what to know. Trump told reporters outside of the White House on Friday morning that the country has so much money coming in that the administration is thinking about a little rebate. But the big thing that we want to do is pay down the debt. Currently, U.S. debt is over $36 trillion. The president, who was preparing to depart for Scotland, noted but we're thinking about a rebate. Later adding, a little rebate for people of a certain income might be very nice. Trump did not specify who would be eligible or the amount of the rebate. Recently, U.S. customs duties in the 2025 fiscal year surpassed $100 billion for the first time. The U.S. Treasury Department reported nearly $27 billion in customs duties revenues in June alone. So here's what people are saying. Senator Josh Hawley on X said, I will introduce legislation in the Senate to send a rebate check to every working person in America. So that coming out right after that, he is trying to make good on Trump's words. Joseph Bruselas, principal and chief economist for RSM US, said, interesting way to concede that tariffs, trade, taxes are going to be passed along to consumers in the form of higher prices and inflation. Trump floats the possibility of a tariff rebate check. So here's what happens next. Trump is en route to Scotland for a 5-day visit, during which he will visit 2 of his golf courses and is scheduled to meet with the UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer. So there you have it, you guys. Let me know your thoughts. Now, do you think that they should give out these rebate checks? If so, put checks in the comments, or do you think they should focus on the debt? If debt, put debt. Let me know, checks or debt, in the comments. We're going to be finding out here what's going to be unfolding. And like I said, Senator Josh Hawley, we're going to see what piece of legislation he comes out with on this, as well as we are hearing that he is saying he's going to make good on this. He's saying he is going to get this ready so that way we can see some form of legislation coming out. But now let's go ahead and take a look at why experts are saying that this potentially could be unlikely here. This coming out from CNBC. Now, this comes out and it says, oh, and I'm seeing those checks pouring in. Checks coming in. People are saying, bring out the checks. I see a couple of people saying focus on the debt, but a lot of people are saying checks are needed. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at this, as they are saying that some experts are saying that the tariff rebate could be a challenge. Now, this article says President Donald Trump said that the administration is considering a rebate for some consumers from revenue raised by higher tariffs on U.S. trade partners. When asked by a reporter on Friday at the White House about a possible rebate for Americans from tariff revenue, Trump said, we're thinking about that. We have so much money coming in, we're thinking about a little rebate. The big thing we want to do is pay down the debt, Trump said, but we're thinking about a rebate. A little rebate for people of a certain income level might be very nice, he said. It's unclear whether a rebate could happen without congressional approval. If enacted, it's unknown whether the rebate would come via stimulus checks or another form of tax relief, experts say. So they're saying that this could be issued out in the form of these checks. We will see. Reading on, it says it's kind of unlikely that they would go ahead and do that, said Tax Foundation senior economist Alex Durante. But I wouldn't put anything past this administration. The Treasury Department reported an unexpected surplus for June, with a boost from tariff revenue. Customs duties totaled roughly $27 billion for the month, compared to $23 billion in May. The duties reflect a 301% gain from June of 2024. And here you can see from that senior economist from the Tax Foundation, Alex Durante, I would prefer that the revenue was used for deficit reduction rather than just cutting checks to people. But let me know your thoughts. I saw all those checks pouring in the comments. Trump's rebate idea comes as a chorus of lawmakers and policy experts voice concern about the federal budget deficit. I don't think a rebate would be particularly good policy, Durante said. I would prefer that the revenue was used for deficit reduction rather than just cutting checks to the people. Enacted in early July, Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill tax and spending package could add an estimated $3.4 trillion to the deficit through 2034, according to a conventional score released by the Congressional Budget Office this week. Rebates could put upward pressure on prices. The motivation for sending the direct payments would be different than they were with the COVID pandemic stimulus checks, when many households were losing income or unable to work, said Joseph Rosenberg, senior fellow at the Urban Brookings Tax Policy Center Tax and Income Support Division. Freedom, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. He says, I have not seen anything big and beautiful. It's all talk, no action. Thank you for the $5 super chat, Freedom. I will keep you up to date on whatever comes out. As we're hearing, a lot of stuff is unfolding, this coming out in just the last 24 hours. Now, the federal government is imposing tariffs that will cost U.S. households, and this would be a way of helping those individuals and families, Rosenberg said. Because Congress just passed the very expensive, big, beautiful budget and tax legislation, rebates to individuals could exacerbate the effect on the federal budget deficit, he said. The rebates would reinforce the inflationary effects of the tariffs that already exist, Rosenberg said. People will go out and spend some of that money, and that would further put upward pressure on prices and probably magnify inflationary effects, Rosenberg said. Pandemic-era fiscal stimulus contributes to an increase in inflation of about 2.6 percentage points in the U.S., according to the 2023 research from the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. Now, here is a breakdown of the stimulus checks that we saw during the pandemic. You can see here the first rebate check to individuals was $1,200, $2,400 for married couples, $500 per dependent under the age of 17. The income amount that you could receive to get the full check: individuals $75,000 a year or less in annual income, married $150,000 a year or less. $5 for every $100 over the threshold. Recipients without children phased out at $99,198. So there you have it. That was the first check. The second check that went out in December 27th of 2020, $600 for individual, $1,200 for married couples, $600 per independent under age 17, $75,000, $150,000 were the caps to get the full check, and it also $5 for every $100 over the threshold was the phase out. And that third stimulus check from the American Rescue Plan passed in March 11th of 2021. $1,400 for individuals, $2,800 for married couples filing jointly, $1,400 per dependent under the age of 19, $24 if you were a student, dependents age 19 and up eligible if they meet qualifications, same income thresholds, and complete phase out at $80,000 or $160,000 for married couples filing jointly. So that is a reminder of what the previous stimulus checks looked like during the pandemic. Now, this is a little bit different than a stimulus check. That stimulus was to help people get money as we were seeing jobs and things being shut down as a result of the pandemic. This is due to the surplus. This would be a rebate coming in as a result of what they're saying is so much money pouring in from tariffs. So tariff rebate checks, refund checks, whatever you want to call it. There's not an official name or an amount yet, but they're saying this would be checks, money going back to the American people, money in your pocket in the form of a rebate check as a result of tariffs being imposed on other nations sending over their goods. So, man, let me know your thoughts. Are you glad to see this? Are you glad to hear this stimulus update? Now, we had heard that there was potentially going to be Doge dividend refund checks before. We've heard nothing about that. In fact, we have not heard much from Doge at all ever since Elon Musk kind of pulled away from that. But now we're hearing in the last 24 hours, Trump is saying with all of the revenue coming in from tariffs, he might send out a tariff rebate check. Now, you might think, okay, well, are they actually going to do this? What is going to be the next steps? Well, we would need to see a piece of legislation introduced in Congress. We need to see them act on it. And as they mentioned, not all members of Congress are necessarily on board with money going out to the people. Some are saying that we need to tackle the deficit, the debt, these issues that we have building up here in the United States. But take a look. Senator Josh Hawley said that he is on it. Hawley is to introduce legislation sending rebate checks to every working American. This coming out yesterday on his website. Today, U.S. Senator Josh Hawley announced that he will introduce legislation to send a rebate check to every working American. President Trump voiced support for his policy as recent as this morning when he discussed record-breaking tariff revenue. And here you can see that X post, I will introduce legislation in the Senate to send a rebate check to every working person in America. And here you can see also somebody posted Trump on tariff revenue. We have so much money coming in. We're thinking about a little rebate, but the big thing we want to do is pay down the debt. We're thinking about a rebate. Wow. So there you have it, you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Should they send out these checks? If so, put checks in the comments. If you think no, Let's focus on the debt deficit. Put debt in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. But this coming out in the last 24 hours. So if you haven't already heard, it has been all over the headlines. We're seeing the video footage circulating all around, as we saw yesterday, Donald Trump saying, we're thinking about a little check, a little rebate. We've got so much money flowing in from tariffs. Why not put it back into the pockets of the American people? And if you like the sound of that, drop a 47 in the comments for support for Donald Trump. Also, do me a favor, if you haven't done so yet, hit that like button. Helps spread the live stream out while we are live right now. I see we've got about 1,300 people on with me. If we could get half of the room to hit that like button, what's that, 650? If you can get that number up to there, if you haven't hit it yet, hit that like button. Also, subscribe to stay up to date. As more comes out on this, I'll let you know, as this is just kind of out of the blue. This is a shock. We hadn't heard anything for quite some time on stimulus checks, Doge dividend refund checks, and now it's making headlines everywhere. I will keep you up to date here on the channel as more breaks. So to subscribe to stay up to date, hit that like button. All these articles are referenced down in the description below. And that is the latest, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll keep you up to speed. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.